I'm here to testify to the goodness of God in my life. Last year, January 2025, first week, I saw like a small lump in my left breast. I went to the hospital to check it, and the doctor said, oh, any mass in the breast needs to be taken out. So they took it out and they took it for biopsy. 2 days after my birthday, which was January 29, I got the results and they said it was positive for malignancy. My whole was shattered and I was like, you know, when you hear cancer, all you start thinking of is maybe you're going to die. So I started crying. Then they introduced me to an oncologist and they said they needed to do a series of tests to be able to stage me and to know what treatment to start with. At that point in time, I was devastated. So there is this guy that makes my nails. It was a Muslim when I knew Wale in 2007. When I went to his shop to make my nails, I was gloomy. He was like, Auntie Kemi, what's the problem? This is not your usual lively self. I said, Wale, they said I have cancer. I don't even know how to, but you know, this nail that I'm making, I'm just doing it to be happy. He was like, Auntie Kemi, I'm always telling you, because every time I go to his shop, he will always say, oh, what God, Auntie Kemi, NSPPD, what God can. I say, yes, I know what God cannot do doesn't exist, but I don't know, I don't understand, those people. So that particular day, he said, Auntie Kemi, I'm always telling you about NSPPD. If him, that is a Muslim, can testify and convert to a Christian, I should know that there is God in that place. So I decided to go on that altar. I joined this altar in February 2025. And I started with the prayers. From when they did all the tests, histology, it came out as triple negative breast cancer stage 3. March 19th, during the throne room verdict, Papa said triple negative breast cancer.
Triple negative breast cancer. Triple negative breast cancer. By the mercy of God, I announce, let it be reversed.
When Papa said triple negative breast cancer, I was so excited. I called a friend of mine in Lagos, though she's not a member of NSPPD. I said, see, there in this church, there is God there. The pastor just said triple negative breast cancer. That is my case now. She said, do you know the number of millions of people that have triple negative breast cancer in Nigeria? Why do you think it is yours? That killed my morale. It killed my faith. At that point in time, there was someone that I know that was battling the same diagnosis that I had that died. That day I got home, I was crying, I was rolling on the floor, and I told God, I said, God, if you are really on this altar that I'm praying, you see this diagnosis, the way they wrote it, triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma is what I want Pastor Jerry to say. Sometimes Pastor will say, triple negative breast cancer. Sometimes you say invasive ductal cancer. I said this one should be mentioned the way the diagnosis has been written. May 27, 2025, during the Goliath has fallen, Pastor said, any woman with cancer, triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma be reversed.
ELROI said, I'm stretching forth my hands to any woman with breast cancer, triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma, by the power that raised Jesus from the dead. I announce, let it be reversed.
When I got to Egypt, the doctors, of course, they will run all their tests. I have all the test results here, my blocks, everything. They did everything. I was supposed to run series. After the third one, they could not find anything, even with PET scan. The doctor said, okay, they are not finding anything. Am I sure this the diagnosis that I brought from Nigeria is right? They said, where is the block? I said, it's in Nigeria. They said, okay, they need to see the block. What they brought out from the surgery, they took it to pathology lab. My block from Nigeria arrived. They took it to the lab. Now, when all the results came out, from the pathology lab in Egypt, the tumor whatever they brought out that they thought they were going to find tumor or find some residual, they said no residual tumor, complete pathological response. Then they took out 20 lymph nodes. They said on the lymph node, free malignancy, 0/20. Now, the doctors were confused. And they said, the block that they sent in for the one I brought from Nigeria, that gave the diagnosis that the devil tried to use in trapping me. When the result came out, they said, really, there was cancer cell in that one they did in Nigeria. Because they redid the test again in Egypt. It was actually triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma. But they didn't understand how the whole thing was in total remission. I told the doctors, I said, this is not medicine. This is Jesus. You know, it's a Muslim country. There were days they were looking at me. They said, this is not like it doesn't happen, but it's rare, it's not common. I said, yes, this one is Jesus. Jesus healed me. I have come to say thank you. Papa, I joined the millions of people to say the oil on your head will never run dry. Thank you, Jesus.